With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble the Chief Justice, I now declare that all the judges have assembled. With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble the Chief Justice, may I now request your Lordship to commence your Lordship's speech.
My esteemed brother, Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah ji, my esteemed sister and brother judges, Sri S. Sri Ram, Learned Advocate General, Sri K. Janaki Rami Reddy, President AP High Court Advocates Association, Sri Ghanta Ramarao, Chairman Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh, Sri N. Harinath, Assistant Solicitor General, the law officers, the honored senior advocates, and respected members of the bar, members of the judicial fraternity, officers of the registry, revered Madam Mrs. Jeva Amanullah and other family members of Justice Amanullah, ladies and gentlemen, we have gathered here to bid a warm farewell to my esteemed brother, Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah, as his Lordship has been transferred to his parent High Court. My brother was transferred to this court almost simultaneously at the time when I was appointed as Chief Justice of this court. We assumed office barely within a span of 3 days. During my association with Brother Justice Amanullah for about 7 months, I had the advantage of receiving his valuable inputs and views on important issues on the administrative side. During this period, Justice Amanullah has contributed a lot on the judicial as well as on the administrative side, and the designation of 22 senior advocates could not have happened without his active participation and motivation to the committee. Before his elevation, Brother Amanullah has a vast experience as an advocate in the Patna High Court, practicing mainly in the constitutional courts. He had the experience of appearing in almost all the jurisdictions like taxation, labor, corporate, forest, service law, and other tribunals like Central Administrative Tribunal, Council Taxes Tribunal, Board of Revenue, apart from the routine civil and criminal matters. He worked as standing counsel and government advocate for the state of Bihar and appeared on behalf of several institutions, corporations, and banks of both central and state governments. He was instrumental in drafting and vetting subordinate and delegated legislation for certain acts of Bihar legislature during the period 2006 to 2011. As an advocate in the Patna High Court, his assistance to court as amicus in matters of significance and in various pro bono matters reflects his concern for social responsibility in helping the needy and underprivileged in the society. His contribution to the cause of legal service was immense and has left an indelible ink. It was for his initiative and microscopic monitoring of all the arrangements and events at every stage. The recently held program of Andhra Pradesh State Legal Services Authority at Visakhapatnam under the aegis of NALSA on Say No to Plastic, Save Environment and issues relating to unorganized labor became a runaway hit. In his short tenure of 7 months, Justice Amanullah has delivered several landmark judgments which shows his ability to comprehend the problem and decide the list in a balanced manner. The judgments rendered by him demonstrate compassion and empathy towards the persons who have suffered at the hands of state machinery or financial institutions. Justice Amanullah loves to render substantial justice to the parties rather than hovering around hyper-technicalities. Justice Amanullah is a tough administrator who would not tolerate indiscipline at the workplace. His personality is like a coconut, that is to say, hard from the outside, but he is very kind, generous, and courteous from inside. His rich experience and knowledge contributed a lot to the High Court of Andhra Pradesh, and I am sure we shall always be guided by his views which he used to render in our administrative committee meetings. From now onwards, this court will be missing a kind-hearted, courteous, and a righteous gentleman. It is indeed a loss to this court to part with such an eminent judge. I, my own behalf, and on behalf of my brother and sister judges, wish Sri Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah and the entire family a happy, healthy, and peaceful life, and good luck in reaching greater heights in life. Thank you.
With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble Chief Justice, May I now request the learned Advocate General to commence his speech on behalf of the legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice.
My Lord Justice Amanullah, my Lord the Honorable Judges, Janaki Ram Reddy, President Bar Association, Mr. Gantara Rao, Senior Advocate, Chairman Bar Council, N. Harinath, Assistant Solicitor General, Dushyant Reddy, Additional Public Prosecutor, Senior Counsel, Law Officers of the Government, Officers of the Registry, family members of Justice Amanullah, and friends. A tenure of 7 months is just about enough for a learned judge to learn the traditions of the court, learn the traditions of the bar, understand the bar, and also the local laws, and that is thereafter that the learned judge looks to commanding the position that he would be in. I remember those days of October when the learned judge literally came unannounced, quietly. And I think it was the day on which I was also addressing the farewell to Justice Goswami, the learned Chief Justice, when he was transferred to Chhattisgarh. I gave my speech, and after that, all of us went to the association. This learned judge, who I barely met about 10-15 minutes ahead, walked across the floor of the association hall, clasped my hands, and said, "Well spoke, AG." It takes a lot of boldness, the courage of conviction, and also the genuine interest of what is in the institution for a learned judge who's barely a couple of hours old in the institution to show that kind of initiative to the tradition of the bar of wishing farewell to the honorable judges who leave the institution either on their demitting the office or on transfer. I had an occasion or two to appear before the court, which was presided over by him, but towards it a little later. And before that, as a senior judge, he was heading committees, and he was in charge of being the honorary executive chairman of the AP Legal Services Authority. In the first meeting, he had requisition of the finance secretary, the law secretary, and myself. He had indicated that institutions are required to be built because the structures that are built in the institution are the bulwark against any excess from any quarter. And mincing no words, he addressed me direct and said it is the state's responsibility to have the Legal Services Authority going. We have about 17 issues which are pending, and we would like that to be monitored and completed. And all through, he kept exhorting all the stakeholders to step up to ensuring that all the structures which go into making of this institution are in place and working. He would repeatedly, and while being in court or in the association, keep exhorting the members of the bar to follow the traditions that have been time-honored and time-nurtured. He would say the traditions are the continuity of the past and present, and a court with tradition is always the one that will stand out during all periods of testing times. And he would understand the traditions of the court and traditions of the bar while being the presiding judge of the court, very humbly, very unassumingly, and he would also exchange on what used to happen in other courts where he used to appear. And it struck that irrespective of what happens, and true to my record, I lost more than I won in that court also. His Lordship continuously kept saying that it is about the institution, it is about keeping the traditions going. And he would also insist on the courtesies to be continuously kept in order and primal shape to be exchanged between the members of the bar and the members of the judiciary, because ultimately we spend about 8 or 9 hours a day, and whether or not we like each other, we need to be good to each other. So he would keep saying that the interactions ought to be civil, interactions ought to be courteous, and these are a palliative in times of stress when we feel the pressure of work or we come on a little hard inside the court. And speaking of which, the first of my writ appeals was before the learned judge in a policy matter. And there was a case of petitioners challenging a policy which was essentially in the realm of welfare. And about 23 odd petitioners complained that they had not been given the house sites. And while I pleaded for the ineligibility of the petitioners in the writ petition to have been entitled to such relief, the learned judge insisted that the state, to prove its bona fides, will have to find a way of accommodating the claims of the petitioners also if it seeks to incur the bona fide discretion of the court. Even after the writ petitioner counsel agreed to withdraw the writ petition with no prejudice and with all the observations having to go, the learned judge insisted on both the learned Additional Advocate General and me to record before the court that all the petitioners who came to challenge the policy have been granted the house sites. And that is when His Lordship indicated in the order as well that a few things are to be kept non-adversarial irrespective of the result of the case. So a tribute to a fine sense of justice and a balancing scale of evening out the rights of the parties and the concerns of the state. Subsequent thereto, we had a senior officer of the government punished for contempt, and His Lordship, mincing no words, that higher you are, more solemn is your obligation to be respectful towards the court. And the principal chief head of the department of the government had been convicted for contempt in the said matter. So there was no absence of clarity as to where His Lordship's heart was, in the majesty of law, in the majesty of neutral courtroom adjudication. And once an adjudication passes hands, unless it has been traversed or set aside, it will have to be complied with absolutely no quarters for mercy to be shown, especially if the officer is of that cadre. So you came swiftly, you came quietly, and you're going back in a hurry. 7-month tenure is something that is not eventful in an otherwise a regular tenure of a judge. 7 months, Lok Adalats. The meeting that His Lordship held with the officers of the state, mincing no words that he expects the officers to be fair. He had a meeting with the banks and the local corporations. He called for a fair measure the police officers in, and said, and I had an opportunity to remark about this in the conference that the learned Chief Justice alluded to, His Lordship very pointedly told me that as a law officer of the state, I need to impress upon the state that it is not about a win or a loss. It is about a closure of a dispute, and I did my bit to securing the cooperation of the state, and I have never missed the glint in the eyes of the learned judge when he repeatedly kept claiming that the disposals that happened in the Legal Services Authority in the Lok Adalat was a record of sorts. His interaction is a plain speak, straight from the heart. He is what you get. And he minces no words. His eyes speak 1,000 words. And when he deals with the bar, he makes it very clear that he wants the matters to be argued on merits, no theatrics, no frills inside the court, and he puts everybody down without any dimmer at all. And before you could put together a remark or a rebuttal or a riposte, the learned judge has already uttered 150 words after that you do not even know what was the last sentence that you need to be having a riposte to. It was wonderful appearing before you, Justice Amanullah. And I've had these experiences in your court, maybe 5 or 7 matters. I will not refer to the result of those matters. And I have seen that your Lordships have that first line of questioning. Your Lordships expect a fair and a candid answer. And you more than once reminded me the office that I hold when I was trying to argue as a lawyer and not as an Advocate General, with all due humility. It's a lesson learned. The learned Chief Justice alluded to the minor detail that your Lordships insist on to the point of being obsessed with it. One such issue that I remember was about the stay and the accommodation of the dignitaries who were coming from Delhi, and the last travel detail and the minutest of the most remotest possibility was so ever present in your mind that you and your able officers of AP Legal Services Authority, with guidance from the Patron-in-Chief, had ensured that the district administration and the state administration participated in it. I am younger to you, and therefore I can only pray God to give you all that is nice to your life. We will not grudge Bihar for getting you back. After all, we have had some part of you. And it's also the turn of the country's bar to have you more at different jurisdictions that you have enriched by your presence as a judge and your arguments as a lawyer. May God bless you. May God bless you, your family, your members, and everybody near to you with all that is nice in your life. And I wish you a very pleasant life on your transfer back to Patna and any further journey that Lord Almighty would beckon you to. May God bless you.
With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble the Chief Justice, may I now request the learned President of the Andhra Pradesh High Court Advocates Association to commence his speech on behalf of legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, the Honorable Sri Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah ji, Honorable Judges of this Court, Land Advocate General, the Honorable Chairman Bar Council of AP, Land Additional Public Prosecutor, Land Assistant Solicitor General, Law Officers of the State, Land Senior Advocates, colleague advocate friends. Today we have assembled here to bid farewell to the Honorable Sri Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah ji on his Lordship being transferred to High Court of Patna. My Lord was born on 11/5/1963. After completing BSc and LLB, enrolled as an advocate with the Bar Council of State of Bihar on 27/9/1991. Practiced majorly in the Constitutional Court, primarily at Patna High Court. My Lord has also appeared before various tribunals, district courts, consumer dispute redressal bodies, and also in arbitrations. My Lord was also a special counsel in income tax matters, representing on behalf of the Government of India at Jharkhand High Court, and counsel for the district administration before the Commission of Inquiry into the Dal Singh Sarai firing incident. My Lord served as standing counsel and government pleader for the state of Bihar. My Lord has also appeared at various institutions like banks, Indian Railways, central government corporations, and assisted as amicus curiae in matters of significance associated with the social issues pro bono. Then my Lord elevated as judge of Patna High Court on 20th June 2011. Upon transfer, joined the High Court of Andhra Pradesh on 10th October 2021. My Lord served as chairman of High Court Legal Services Committee at Patna High Court, chairman for Juvenile Justice Monitoring Committee, and member of Board of Governors, Bihar Judicial Academy at Patna. From 8/11/2021, serving as Executive Chairman of Andhra Pradesh State Legal Services Authority. And my Lord delivered number of landmark judgments at Patna and in Andhra Pradesh also. In K.V. Krishnaya versus State of Andhra Pradesh, His Lordship, while heading a division bench, clearly held, approaching a constitutional court for redressal of grievances ipso facto would not disentitle a citizen from protesting in relation to the same subject matter. The reason that when the court would be looking at this dispute, it would examine the matter only from a legal lens, based upon settled parameters of adjudication. In another matter, that is in Mangalagiri Textiles versus State Bank of India, Lordship held, once the time specified in the warrant issued by the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate or District Magistrate under Section 14 of the Surface Act, after elapsed, possession of the secured asset cannot be taken under the same warrant unless the time granted is extended. In another matter at Patna, that is Pawan Kumar Yadav versus State of Bihar, while dealing a case in implementing environmental laws, the Lordship held that the court would also not lose sight of the fact that environmental laws, besides being a substantial law, are required to be strictly implemented in today's world, as non-conforming to these laws is leading to a drastic and grave evil consequences on nature, which are irreversible, and no slackness can be afforded or permitted on this front. Now His Lordship is getting transferred. We would miss the presence of His Lordship in the High Court. During His Lordship's tenure, created a special place in the hearts of every member of the bar, and we are thankful for every endeavor that His Lordship has made in upholding the rule of law and also for keeping good relationship with the bench and bar. Though His Lordship is leaving this honorable court in short time, but His Lordship would be remembered for his precious contribution to legal fraternity and for upholding the values of this temple of justice. I, and on behalf of the Andhra Pradesh High Court Advocates Association, wish all the best to His Lordship, Sri Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah ji, and the High Court of Patna to getting its treasure back. Thank you, sir.
With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble the Chief Justice, may I now request the learned Chairman, Bar Council for the State of Andhra Pradesh, to commence his speech on behalf of the legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Chief Justice Prashant Kumar Misra ji, Ahsanuddin Amanullah ji, and other learned judges of the Honorable High Court, family members of Amanullah ji, my learned Advocate General Sri Ram, my good friend Janaki Ram Reddy, President of the Bar Association, Arnad, Assistant Solicitor General, and also Additional Public Prosecutor, Senior Counsel, and Registry, and other members of the profession, ladies and gentlemen. Parting with the learned judge is painful, but it became inevitable because my Lord is going back to his native state. Looking at the details furnished to us, my Lord appeared in every forum, right from the consumer forum to the FX court. My Lord dealt with every subject which I could find in and in context to every other subjects. My Lord became judge of the Patna High Court, served there for a decade, and came here and worked for a short period of 7 months. And my experience, interaction with my Lord, on the judicial side only I had the opportunity to appear once, but number of times we are invited to participate in various deliberations regarding the Legal Service Authority. My Lord is very friendly, courteous, but not that friendly when my Lord is on the bench. My Lord, the concern for the bar. Every occasion my Lord is to inquire about various welfare schemes that are being taken by the Bar Council. In fact, on one occasion, my Lord has taken opportunity to insisting upon procuring a better insurance scheme for the benefit of the advocate in the state of Andhra Pradesh by negotiating with the insurance representatives of insurance companies who were present during that Legal Service Authority meeting. We always remember your Lordship concern for the bar, though we are not willingly parting, but it become inevitable. I wish on behalf of the legal fraternity a happy and rememberable tenure, not only the remaining term but also other position to be laid out.
With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble the Chief Justice, may I now request the learned Assistant Solicitor General to commence his speech on behalf of the legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, My Lord Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah ji, learned judges of this Honorable Court, family members of My Lord Justice Amanullah ji, learned senior advocates, Advocate General, Bar Council Chairman, President Bar Association, the Additional Public Prosecutor, Advocate friends, and ladies and gentlemen. My Lord, on this occasion, I would like to recollect one issue my lord, when he was transferred from Patna, the portfolio which he was handling, every third matter was a surfacey matter. And though Union of India was a pro forma party in those matters, we were asked to find out the status with regard to as to the appointment of the members of the tribunals, DRTs. Most of the matters were coming to the High Court because there was no member in the tribunal and even the appellate tribunal as well. So my lord was insisting on, why don't you find out, why don't you write letters to the department? So complete persuasion from my lord. We also wrote letters because once we gave a word to the court, my lord, saying that we will write letters, we had written letters to the department, and then one fine day we were very happy, we gleefully forward the copy of the appointment orders, so that we can recollect, my lords, his complete persuasion. A very compassionate judge, my lords, in his judgments also, which the bar would be missing from tomorrow. My lord, the Patna High Court, what I can say at this moment is very fortunate to have their gem of a judge back in their collegium or in their team, which our court would be missing. With these few words, I pray Almighty to bestow all His blessings on my Lord Justice Amanullah ji with good health and greater, and wish him he reaches greater heights in the judiciary. Thank you, my lords.
With the permission of my Lord, the Hon'ble the Chief Justice, may I now request my Lord Hon'ble Justice Ahsanuddin Amanullah garu to deliver his Lordship speech.
Honorable the Chief Justice, Mr. Prashant Kumar Mashra, respected brethren and sisters on the bench, Mr. S. Shriram, Learned Advocate General, Mr. Janaki Rami Reddy, Learned President Bar Association, AP High Court, Mr. Ghanta Ramarao, Learned Chairman Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. N. Harinath, Learned Assistant Solicitor General, officers of the registry, staff of this court, Learned Senior Counsel and members of the bar, the learned advocate clerks who are assembled here, members of the I&PR department who are streaming this live, Madam Chief Justice, Madam Vasanta, and my wife, my son, my daughter, and all my family members and colleagues of the bar. It is very difficult at this moment to speak something. You are overwhelmed. And this is my first speech, because when I came as of farewell, because when I came from Patna, I just came at very short notice, and everybody there has a grievance that I did not allow them to give a formal farewell. So this time also I made sure that I stayed back here. I met everybody, and there was some sort of a formality to interact and to listen to each other. Another thing I have to confess is that I am a very unpredictable speaker. So my family is more apprehensive, so they made sure that I had a prepared speech. So I have one paper with me, and I promised them that I will try to limit myself to this. I don't know how much successful I would be, because I have a tendency of going off track. So my real nature comes in the way of me adhering to this. But let me first complete this formal small speech which I have written, and then maybe with the permission of Honorable Chief Justice, I may speak something from my heart, which I would like to share with regard to my feelings, mixed feelings, more of pain rather than joy. So, deference to my beloved family. In the forenoon of 10th October 2021, I was sworn in as a judge of this Honorable Court on transfer from the Patna High Court. And after just over 8 months, I am here bidding adieu. I am thankful to the Honorable Supreme Court Collegium for both these opportunities, as is I would not have known what life is beyond the Patna High Court on the judicial side. A tremendous opportunity came my way. It widened my horizon, my outlook, and what we used to talk about, there being a pan-India commonality of the high courts, the bar. I am thankful to all the speakers for their kind words, but I wonder if I deserve them. The bar is the judge of judges, and its verdict on a judge is ultimately the last word. I think it worthy to remind myself at this juncture that men may come and men may go, but the institution lives on. The bar and the bench are both interested in the dispassionate but impartial administration of justice, which is also the constitutional mandate. In this vein, I must state that the bar of this court is amongst the best in the country. It is a polite but forceful, aggressive but respectful, sober but knowledgeable. I have learnt a lot. The bar has been welcoming, and not for a moment since joining did I feel out of place. All the advocates were prepared with their briefs and ready to assist the court, both on law and on facts, without hesitation. This self-resolution of disputes which otherwise would have remained on the docket for long. A special word of thanks to my brothers and sisters who were with me on the bench. Their valuable input, their support, which made my work easier, and the inputs and the insights, fresh inputs and insights. Being a judge for 10 years makes you a little bit of a stale material, but a fresh input from them added to my learning. I became more enriched as a judge, as a person. Each of them brought a unique perspective to the matters on board, and I valued their inputs. Free and frank discussion among the members of the bench aids in justice, and I find that practice, procedure and convention of this court meets and carries forward the great judicial traditions of our country. I express my gratitude to all the court staff, the police personnel deputed with me, the attendants, the officers of the registry, everybody, right from the very person who cleans my chambers to my staff, especially to my personal assistant Manjula, who had to be really on her feet because we were too much demanding and everything, and because of the language, she was our medium to communicate everywhere, everything. I don't know how much embarrassment or trouble she must have faced on my behalf. Thank you. My other secretary Dawood also, all my attendants and everybody. Due to constraints of time, I cannot name them individually. Their care has helped me in discharging my duties effectively without worry. A special thanks to the bar, for you were my only pillar of hope when I came here. With inputs, I knew that the bar was always with me because there is a connection with one advocate to the other, being a family. And you, right from day one, you showed that I was not mistaken. Special word of thanks to the state led by the Learned Advocate General also, because institutions have to move forward. Institutions have to move forward by cooperation from all. And I am lucky to say that I have had full cooperation from every quarter with which I have interacted, which has been called upon. And if somebody asks me what thing I disliked, I would have to think for 2 hours and then come up with a made-up excuse. I'm not saying because I'm in front of you. And if I may say, coming from Patna was such in a hurry, I didn't have time to think and reflect. But here, it has been some time since the Honorable Supreme Court Collegium recommended for me to go back, the notification coming here. I've tried to retrospect, and it's not a good feeling going from here. I'll be missing my family. This was my home now, second home. But anyway, life has to go on, things have to go on. And parting always is not easy, especially for a person like me. I get attached too soon to things, and then it is very difficult to say goodbye. As I return to the Patna High Court, I hope to utilize my experiences gathered here, for which I shall be in need of your blessings and good wishes. I end with the words of the musician Elvis Presley. Until we meet again, may God bless you as He has blessed me. Jai Hind. Thank you everybody. Take care. Maintain the tradition. And yes, now all of you have a second home in Patna. I am there. Please come, visit me. I'll be delighted. We'll be in touch. And I'm there for whatever worth I am. If anybody thinks I can be of any help any time in life, and relationships are forever. These are passing phases, the positions we held. But now I also know that I have a home in Andhra Pradesh. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
With the permission of my Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, may I now declare that the proceedings are concluded.